Hi everybody, my name's Lynn and welcome to my website. Thank you for joining us today, and to start with I want to tell you just a little bit about myself and how I got into this sort of work, because some of it is quite strange and unusual. So it all started for me, look, since I was a kid, since I was really little, I've always been interested in ghosts and monsters and the supernatural and anything that was crazy or out there or different. I've just always been fascinated with it. I think my journey really started when I was about 6 or 7. I heard a rumour that there was a ghost living up the road in one of the houses. My friend knew the people who lived there, so we thought, okay, let's go and we'll go and visit this ghost. So we did. We went up to this lovely lady's house. She was so sweet. Knocked on the door and said, "Oh, we're here to come and see your ghost." And she said, "Oh, yes, come on inside." He walks up and down the hall. He does it all day, every day. She said, "Just stand in the hallway and eventually you'll feel it. It'll probably just feel cold, and that'll be him." And we're like, okay, this sounds great. So me and my friend went into the hallway, and seriously, we were not there very long when it got freezing cold. You know that bone chilling cold? It just freezes you inside and out. We felt really, really cold. All the hairs on us stood up on end. And we felt a presence. It felt like it's not just me and her here anymore. There's someone else with us. So from then, I was just hooked. It's like there's more to life than just what we can see physically. There's so much more. So that really piqued my interest, when I was at even at that very young age. And then probably following that, the next sort of big trigger in my life that kind of, I think, helped me on my journey towards what I'm doing now is the birth of my daughter. Now, my daughter's now 28 years old. Her name's Jade. She's lovely. But when she was born, she was 4 weeks preemie. We were in hospital. And because she was early, once she'd been born, everyone's like fussing and let's get her to the neonatal nursery. Let's make sure she's okay. So everyone, doctors, husband, everyone left the room, and I'm there by myself in the delivery suite. I'm thinking, oh, okay, great. Not long after, the nurse popped her head in. She said, "Hey, do you want me to send your mum in?" I said, "Hey, that'd be fantastic." Or seriously, just after she shut the door, they were big, like heavy doors, and the door swung right open, like someone had walked through and then closed again. I thought it was my mum, so I said, "Oh, hi, Mum." There was no one there, but I could feel there was a presence in the delivery suite with me. I was like, wow, okay, feels like someone's here. Then my mum walked in and I kind of forgot about it. But because my daughter was premature, we had to spend roughly about 2 weeks in hospital at that time. So, so during that time, I had quite a few things happen. The first thing was, I didn't notice it so much through the day, but at night, it felt like someone watching me. It felt like there was someone standing at the door and just watching. And then it felt like they were coming closer. And it's a little disconcerting at first, that's for sure. And then, I think it was about the third night, and I just fed Jade. I, put her back in her cot, and I'm sitting there. I wasn't tired. I was kind of a little bit wired, so I had my book and I started reading. And next thing, it felt like someone had sat on the end of the bed. And when someone sits somewhere and the bed actually sinks down. Well, the bed actually sunk down, and I thought, wow, there's someone sitting on my bed. And I could feel there was someone in the room with me. It felt male to me, but that's all I could pick up. And I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here? And then this would happen most evenings. Like I said, I didn't notice it through the day, but at night, and he'd come sit on the bed with me, whether I had Jade with me or I'd put her down, he was there. And then things started going missing, like the dummy was in the cot and then it would disappear. It'd be in the bathroom. My book would be on the side table and then it'd be, in my little cupboard. I was thinking, what is going on? At first I thought, I've just had a baby. It's probably just my brain playing tricks on me. But I could still feel this presence every night. So after that 2-week period, I was kind of glad to go home and go, oh my God, I don't have to put up with this presence anymore. So first night at home, new baby, in my own space, thinking, great, just me. And I walked into Jade's room and she had a mobile over her bed. And it looked like someone just went smack because the mobile started going, not like a wind had come in and just moving it around, like someone had smacked it and it was quite all over the place. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? Bang, there I felt the presence standing in the room with me. And I knew he felt familiar to me. It felt like the same presence that was in the hospital. So I'm like, oh no, he's come home with me. So that was really disconcerting to me in the respect it's like, I don't have other people around me all the time now. I have my husband, he's asleep in bed, but it's like, he didn't really believe in that sort of stuff. So I felt quite alone in that. So anyway, I changed my daughter and I took her out. I went to feed her, and sure enough, on the couch next to me, boom, looked like someone had sat next to me. So being quite scared and a little bit creeped out, I thought, you know what, I'll bring my dog in. And I had a big German Shepherd crossed with a blue heeler. He was a massive dog, very protective of me. And I thought, okay, well, if there's someone, if this is threatening to me, the dog's going to let me know. So I brought my dog in and I sat down, and the dog kind of sat and looked directly where the spirit was sitting and kind of, okay, sussed him out, and then just sat down like nothing was wrong. And I thought, okay, if he's not worried, I guess I shouldn't be worried. It was a little bit creepy, but I never felt threatened. I never felt like I can't leave my baby in the room by herself, that type of feeling. So he actually felt like an okay person. He was just in my house and I couldn't see him. So this went on for a year. This male spirit lived in my house for a year. I went to see a clairvoyant. She was a friend of the family after about that year was up. And I hadn't said anything to her. And I walked in and sat down and she said, "You've got an earthbound soul with you." Now, that was the first time I'd heard the term earthbound soul. And I thought, what is this earthbound soul? And she said, it's someone who's died, but they haven't crossed over into the light. They can get sort of stuck in this sort of realm and be with us. And she said, he's with you. And he died when Jade was born of cancer. He's an older guy, and he saw, apparently when you have a baby, there's a lot of light around. He saw the light, he came in and he thought, I quite like these people, I'll stay with them. And that's how we ended up with him living with us for a year. She was amazing. She went through a process. She said, I'm going to send him on into the light. And that to me was like, wow, I've never heard that, but really interested me that you could do that you have the ability to help these people to go where they need to be. So that kind of stayed in the back of my mind. She moved him on, no problems. I went home that night and I thought, I can't feel him. He's not here. So she definitely had sent him on into the light, which is where, human spirits are meant to be. So that was kind of an amazing awakening for me. After that, not long after I started in the ambulance service, I did 17 years as an on-road paramedic. And during that time, I learned a lot about different energies. I would go to a situation or a place, or I'd be talking to a person, and I'd be picking up a lot of energies like, this is an all right situation, this person's not good, stand back, make sure you're keeping your distance. Yes, we can go into this. No, this isn't good. A lot of information about the energy that was around. I thought, okay, this is interesting. I was quite enjoying it and feeling like, okay, wow, this is exciting. And then I started talking to the recently deceased. So I remember one case that sticks in my mind quite strongly, and that is, we went to a 50-year-old male and he literally just dropped dead, had a cardiac arrest. Me and my colleagues got there, we worked on him, we did everything we could for him, and in the end, unfortunately, he did die on scene. And So after he died, my colleagues were sort of, taking the gear back out to the ambulance and doing what they needed to do. And I was inside speaking with his wife. And she was absolutely devastated, as you can imagine. But what she was saying was, I never got a chance to tell him how much I loved him, how much of an awesome father he was, what a beautiful husband he was. Straight away, he's standing next to me. I could feel his energy, like someone's standing there, and you turn around, you can feel that presence, but you can't see them. And I thought, oh, okay. And then he said in my ear, he said, tell her I can still hear her. And I thought, oh, I'm working as a paramedic. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. But then I remembered part of the training said that the last thing to go is probably a hearing. So I said that to her. I said, look, he can probably still hear you. Just let him know. She poured out her heart. She told him how fantastic he was and what a beautiful husband and father he was and what an amazing life they'd had, which was lovely. And being privy to that and standing there and being a part of that was just beautiful. And at the end of it, she said, thank you. But then he said, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Clear as day. He might as well have been standing there talking to me. And that was a real turning point for me, because I thought, wow, not only can I help the living, but I also have some sort of ability, I wasn't quite sure how it worked at that stage, on how to help the deceased, the dead. And, it was so inspiring. It was such a beautiful thing to be a part of. So I really, it really sort of made me start thinking about, wow, there's so much more to life than just what we see and what we pick up with our physical senses. So that was an amazing part of my journey. Not long after that, I actually did a Reiki course. And I found the Reiki, that's like a hands-on healing for those who don't know. And you literally run that energy, that like the universal life flow through your body and into the patient or client, whatever you want to call them, through your hands. But you can also do distant healing. And I found that really opened me up more. And I just loved working with the energies and practicing on people, and just feeling those energies coming through me. It was an amazing experience. Part of that experience was I bought a deck of angel oracle cards. Initially just to play around and just to use for myself. I just felt drawn to them in the shop, and I thought, wow, this is cool. This is something that might be fun. Anyway, I started doing some readings for family and friends and that sort of thing. And the information that was coming through, we found was really uplifting, really inspiring, and really helped people in moving forward in a really positive way. And I loved that. I thought that was amazing to be able to do that. So that's when I decided, do you know what? I'm going to set up my own business, and I'm going to do readings and healings for people. So I did. I set up my business. It was, and I asked the question, because I was connected to my guides at that time. And I said, what should I call my business? And they said, AngelSpeak. I thought, wow, okay, I really like that name. And I did always feel a connection to the angelic realm. So I set up my business. That was in 2000, so 21 years ago now. And I started doing readings and healings. And I found that doing the healings, because of my ambulance background, I was really able to tap into, the body, the systems, how the processes work, but also disease states and even trauma, that sort of thing. I was able to pick up a lot of, like, if people had blockages, I could feel it and I could help shift and remove it. So that was really interesting, but that's when I started, first started doing this in 2000. And I just did it more on a casual basis. So I was full-time in the ambulance, but I was doing this on the side. As time went on, like over the 21 years, I've also added some different things like past life regressions, and crystals and tuning forks and all that sort of thing. So as I've been going along, I've been adding things to how I do stuff. About 10 years ago, I then had my next sort of big learning curve, and that was I started working with a paramedic group. A paranormal group. And we would go out and we would do investigations for people in their homes to see, if they had paranormal activity in the homes. We would go out there, and I was sort of working as a psychic, so I would be picking up the energies and sensing who was there, why they were there, what was going on in the space, was it just energies, that sort of thing. And then we had like a technical team who would use all the gear and equipment, and they would sort of like back up what myself and the other psychics were saying. So that was a really interesting time. But it was also during that time that I read Marianne Winowski's book, When Ghosts Speak. She is the actual original ghost whisperer. And she has a technique in there where you create the light and you send the spirits on. And it was funny because that's what I was actually doing at the time. It came through from my guides. And then to hear this from her, and she'd written all about it and had a TV show as well, it was like, wow, I'm definitely on the right track here. To be able to help the living and the dead. And that was important to me. Also, during that time when I was with the paranormal group, we started, my guides started telling me about entities and what entities were and how they're negative energies, and how they're non-human, how they can be negative, from like a trickster all the way down to the demonic, and the different techniques on what to do when there was an entity in the space. So it was a really big learning curve for me in that regard. And then after that, actually I was still doing it, but I finished with the ambulance service after about 17 years there. And then I started working at a hospice, and a hospice is a place you go where you have about 3 months left to live. And I found that I'd learned so much on the ambulance, being an on-road paramedic, about death and dying and that sort of thing. But when I went to the hospice, it was a totally different way. It was like, this is the process, because I found when I was working the ambulance service, everything was quick. Everything was, they're either just about to die, they've just died, or do you know what I mean? It's like fast. We have to do this, we have to do that. I didn't really get a chance to sort of really focus in and see what was going on. But with the hospice, it was like, this is what's going on with this person. And this is their process. And I found it amazing that most people start connecting with their deceased loved ones. So those people that they've had in their life, family, friends, whoever, and have crossed over into the light, those people come back, and those people connect with you before you die. And I thought, wow, that's a really interesting thing to have happen. And also when they did die, I got a sense of the spirits that come in and that would help these people to move on and go to the next stage of their life. So that was really, really interesting time for me. I've since ceased working for all other people, and now I just work for myself. I've been doing that for the last 3.5 years now, and it's been an amazing journey. So now I find what I do is I incorporate everything that I've learned into what I'm doing now. So all my experience, the different services, the different places I've worked, everything that I've picked up over the last 21 years, I incorporate that into, my work and my services. But what I found was people were wanting to, I go and clear someone's house, and they say, well, how do I do that myself? How can I keep my space clear myself? Or I've got something around me. How can I shift and move that energy from me? How can I connect into my deceased loved ones? How can I, build up my psychic faculties myself? So I've been running the workshops for quite a few years, but I just found the need to sort of get it out to a broader audience, and then to give you that information, but then you've got it and you can watch it as many times as you want. You can stop it, start it, you can go over different aspects, that sort of thing. And I thought it was really good to sort of make the workshops and in an online version, and allow people to access this information that way. And it's all about everything that I do, everything that I've learned, I've just condensed it into these different workshops. I would say if you have haven't tapped into any of this at all, if you don't think you have any abilities, start with the psychic development workshop. That will show you your psychic faculties, how to use them and how to develop them. Once you've got that, then go on to how to do a card reading or spirit communication and learn how to communicate that way. With the ghosts and entities, that is just telling you the difference between what's an earthbound spirit or ghost and what's an entity, because there's quite a big difference. It doesn't tell you how to move them on in that one. It just tells you this is what the different energies are like, and this is how you can know if there's something in your home or if there's something tapped into your energy. So that's what that workshop is all about. The last workshop is how to remove ghosts and entities and how to do a house clearing. That workshop, there is a bit of a warning with it. And I would say if you don't know about your psychic senses, and if you haven't connected with your own spirit team, we all have a spirit team. But if you haven't tapped in and you're not working with that spirit team, don't do that one first, because you can open doorways, open portals, that sort of thing, and have these entities attached to you. If you don't know how to shift and remove them, it can be quite damaging, not only to yourself, but to your family, to your career, your home, everything. So it really does come with a bit of a warning. Have some experience to know how to connect with your team, and then do that workshop. So that's everything. That's just a little bit about myself, how I got into this, why I'm doing this, why I'm getting these workshops out there. If you do go on to do the workshops, I hope you enjoy them. If you have any questions whatsoever, please contact me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions, share anything else that you might need to know, or if you feel there's something else that you need to know, look, you can contact me on the website, you can contact me via my phone. Anyway, I'm more than happy to help out. So I hope the basis of my work is to help people to, one, release sort of negative, heavy, dense energies from your life, and to move on into a more positive way. So it's like, getting into a better space, moving on into a more positive direction. And I always feel, it doesn't matter what's happening in your life, it can always get better. Just by working with these beautiful energies that are around you. So I hope you enjoy. Once again, thank you so much for coming to the site and taking the time to, listen to my little blurb about myself. And any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thanks once again. Namaste.